Wow, so some very upsetting news for some of the Cyberpunk community today. Check out the headline right here. It says Cyberpunk will no longer be playable on this platform. The Phantom Liberty DLC will also be canceled on this platform as well. This is mind-blowing news and very sudden. We're going to also talk about how this is affecting the gaming industry as a whole. Yes, it affects other games as well. Plus, we're going to talk about this right here, Cyberpunk 2078. The sequel is looking more likely than ever. CD Projekt RED revealed a huge revelation about the franchise. This is excellent news when it comes to everything Cyberpunk 2077 and anything beyond that. Of course, a lot of us are looking to Cyberpunk 2078, the sequel, and are wanting to know more. But we've dealt with crazy net runners in Cyberpunk, so I think we all know how important internet security is. Now, if you want to block, track, or secure your internet browsing, access otherwise inaccessible games and movies, and avoid infected files and harmful websites, then NordVPN is for you. NordVPN has also introduced something called Threat Protection, which gives you maximum protection against malicious attempts from untrustworthy sources. So get the internet security you deserve and access more games and movies than ever before. Get 4 months for free on a 2-year plan at nordvpn.com/openworldgames. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Check out all the details in the description. And check this out, you can even unblock your favorite games and geo-restricted servers. Your location does not have to limit your gaming experience. So get the internet security you deserve today. Get 4 months for free on a 2-year plan here at nordvpn.com/openworldgames. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, so check it out. So be sure to check out all the details in the description. We're going to start out with this one, by far one of the most discussed things out on the Cyberpunk subreddit. It says this right here: give me that romance, CD Projekt RED, or there will be trouble. And it says transmog system, Edgerunners update DLC. That's good, but it can be better. We want car customization, more missions with Jackie and the Blue Moon romance, and much more. So yeah, I don't think they should ever abandon Cyberpunk 2077, at least until they actually release the sequel. I want continued support for this game. And then I saw this. This is one of my highly requested features alongside the police overhaul and what they're doing with Max Tech coming with update 1.7. But I want to see this. I want to see a gang influence system. I love this idea. And this is something I'm going to continue to support because there is so much you can do with this by pushing certain gang influences, working for certain gangs, and accidentally like cutting off relationships with certain characters. You can even have specific rewards for taking over gang territories or expanding gang territories. And it makes the game, in my opinion, highly replayable because there would be rewards locked to certain gang achievements. Man, they could do so much with this. So I really hope that down the road we see some sort of, maybe even a mod for gangs like this or official support. But honestly, I don't know if something like this would ever make it into Cyberpunk 2077. This is more like, I think, a Cyberpunk 2078 type thing. Now, I saw a really controversial article recently and I was like, whoa, shots fired. Check it out. It says nearly 2 years later, Cyberpunk is still a terrible game, even with fewer bugs. Now, I personally completely disagree with this, but this article goes on to say how there's no real meat to the game beyond just, of course, the main quest line. And I kind of disagree with that. Of course, there's some really interesting side quests in there. There's just not enough of it. And I do think that the in-game stuff is lacking in this game. But yes, they should continue fleshing out the world. I'm hoping that with update 1.7, and hopefully there's an update 2.0, near, of course, the expansion, we do see that this game is finally going to live up to its full potential. But right here, what we have currently, yes, it does still need some work, but it's not a terrible game by any means, in my opinion, right now. I think CD Projekt RED has done an amazing job reviving Cyberpunk, in fact. Now, there was also some shots fired at Jackie. Check this out. It says, based on somebody's opinions, if you have a drink named after you, you are a legend. Do you consider Jackie a legend? Dude doesn't really have any big feet comparing to others. Whoa, that is such... Damn, that is harsh. I love Jackie. In fact, I loved him so much, I was hoping that he would be in the game more. But we have a response that sums it up right here. You have to remember that everyone thinks you two killed Saburo. So yeah, That's it right there. And that makes him a legend for sure. I mean, he infiltrated Arasaka. He pulled off basically the impossible, which automatically makes him a legend. Now we have official news from CD Projekt RED, and this definitely is going to tie into the sequel. Believe it. Check it out right here. It says this: here's hoping to a bright future. And officially, Cyberpunk has sold 20 million copies. That is mind-blowing. And, only recently we heard that Cyberpunk has sold 13 million copies. Now, you have to remember this is going to be somewhat bittersweet news for CD Projekt RED. I am sure they had wished that they had sold all 20 million copies at a $60 price tag, but that was not the case. In fact, Cyberpunk has been heavily discounted and on sale for a very, very long time, and that's why it's pushed a lot of sales. Plus, with all the updates, people have been very interested in the game. Now, Edge Runners really was the tipping point, and right now they are in position to really capitalize with so many people coming from Edge Runners, checking out the game, keeping the game installed up until Phantom Liberty. So, I personally think overall, great strategy, and that's awesome to see. Now, also, check this out, some other milestones. It says, I Really Want to Stay at Your House is #1 on global viral Spotify charts for a week straight. Look at that, a week straight. It shows how many of you are getting in your feels about Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and I say go for it. All right, so now we need to get into this very rough news for certain Cyberpunk players. Check it out right here. It goes on to say this: Stadia is shutting down. CD Projekt RED, please add cross progression so I can continue. Because with the news today that Google are going to turn off Stadia servers on the 18th of January 2023, it's now super important that CD Projekt RED adds cross progression into the Stadia version of Cyberpunk. I have substantial progress on Stadia, and I would really love to continue my game on a new platform. If this isn't going to be possible for some technical reason, I'd like to see a clear statement to that effect sooner rather than later. And this is pretty abrupt. It was a sudden announcement from Google that they are going to be discontinuing Stadia completely, which means that anyone who actually purchased Cyberpunk on Stadia is pretty much out of luck when it comes to continuing their progress in Cyberpunk, and even out of luck when it comes to things like the Phantom Liberty DLC, which is pretty mind-blowing because this seems again to be very, very abrupt news. Check this out here. It says Cyberpunk DLC Phantom Liberty is coming to Stadia, but not last-gen consoles. This was on September 6th. So it shows how these developers, including CD Projekt RED, were completely out of the loop, not realizing that Stadia support would not be continued. They were even developing Phantom Liberty for Stadia, and now it seems like that's not the case. I've seen several other developers from other games going, whoa, I had an exclusive title lined up for Stadia. We've been working on it, and now I'm finding out through Twitter that Stadia is going to be completely canned. It's pretty mind-blowing what has actually happened here. Now we have Jason Schreier giving some interesting insight to the situation. He goes on to say this right here: I reported this last year at Bloomberg, but the amount of money Google spent to get games on Stadia is so shocking that I still can hardly believe it, even after corroborating with multiple sources tens of millions of dollars per game for Red Dead 2, Assassin's Creed, etc. So they put a lot of time, a lot of money, and yes, a lot of manpower into Stadia, and for it to be completely canceled like this is pretty mind-blowing. Now, back to some of the cross-saves issues that is going on with Cyberpunk 2077 and Stadia. Right now, I did some research on that. It doesn't seem like there is actually an official way to do cross-save from Stadia to, say, like PC or consoles to make sure you can continue your adventure. I'm going to make sure to stay up to date on this because I have a feeling that might change by the time Stadia is completely gone. Hopefully CD Projekt RED does allow you poor Stadia users to somehow continue your game on other platforms. And I really do feel for anyone that's stuck on Stadia. There's a reason why people try out Stadia. Either they don't have, the funds for a big next-gen console, or the funds for a big rig PC. They want to try, streaming the game on, Stadia and give that a go. Seems like it wasn't the best choice, unfortunately. Now, this is really interesting. It says this was a while ago. It says, is this just another ambitious Google project that will disappear in a few years like Google Plus? And this was previously said. It says, I understand the concern, but I think all of you have to do is look at the level of investment that we have made and continue to make in Stadia. This is not a trivial project by any means. This is a very, very significant cross-company effort that isn't just my team, but it's also across YouTube. It's across our technical infrastructure and networking team. It represents thousands of people who are working on this business. So you can see how many people will actually be affected by this. Developers. People are likely going to have to find new jobs out of this. Now, the update is this. It says a few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia. And while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected, so we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. And yeah, you could see that also with how games were updated. Even with Cyberpunk specifically, you had update after update for this game, and the last thing they always updated was, guess what? Stadia. They just didn't have much care or concern to update Stadia as much as the other platforms. It wasn't the top of their priority list. So yeah, it's a bummer to hear. And again, I'll keep you guys in the know if you're stuck on the Stadia platform right now. If there is going to be a way to take your saves from Stadia to the GOG or Steam version of Cyberpunk or even consoles, but don't hold your breath. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now, there's been a lot of great ideas within the Cyberpunk community on how to further fix Cyberpunk 2077 and what needs to be added going into the future. We have this one. What would fix the game for you? I'm asking you guys this as well. This comes from Cyberpunk Forever. It goes on to say this. Hi, Cyberpunk people. I completed the main story and all side quests, 30 hours plus. What would fix the game for you in your honest opinion? We waited 8 years. Is this what you expected? What could the Red devs add, remove, fix in this game to make it better? So yeah, for me personally, I want to see the police system fully fleshed out, of course. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I absolutely want to see them add in the gang system. I would love to see this if it's possible. Also, we have some other thoughts and ideas here. We have walk and toggle for keyboard. I believe that's already in the game. This flashlight or some other light source. Some maps get really dark and we have no light. By far, like, how's that not in the game already? There should be night vision, for God's sakes. We're talking about the future here. My God. Also, some interesting ideas here. It says, allow us to set the use button bind. Add mantis blades to photo mode. Allow us to adjust the radio, TV volume, and amp up the music in nightclubs. Increase the minimap scale when driving so we can see in advance when the navigator directs us to turn. Currently, I'm frequently driving past forks in the road. So this is a little bit of an older post right here, as you can see. But yeah, some stuff has been done in regards to that. But I definitely want to see them continuing adding on to this game and never, ever give up. In my personal opinion, and I've seen some mods dedicated to this, they've done some overhauls to the driving model in the game. They still need to do that officially, in my opinion. They need to go in there and continue to tweak and tune the vehicle handling, because my personal opinion, I just don't feel like it's up to par at all with other open world games. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys make of that one. But yes, here's some other ideas. Someone caught this. It says, would be nice if CD Projekt RED added this as a new cybernetic mod for the arm hand in Phantom Liberty. And this one comes from the music video for Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Look at that. We have practical, like, Wolverine claws here. So yeah, I would love to see that as well. Would be really cool to see more Edge Runners tie-in content, especially when it comes to the upcoming updates and DLC. I think they should keep rolling out the free content related to Edge Runners whenever they update the game. Keep going with it, CD Projekt RED. That's what I would love to see. All right, so let's keep going here and talk about your top comments about my most recent Cyberpunk video, which was this right here. New district to expand the city. Edge Runners fans not impressed. all new updates. So if you missed that video, check it out. But the gist of it is this. Yes, we are going to be getting a brand new district to Night City, and it's going to be feeding off of Pacifica. So it should be really, really cool. I cannot wait to see what they do. And, you know, there's some leaks suggesting that we would be getting the combat zone as well. So let's get into this, into your top comments with Noised, who says this. What I think the game needs the most is more life. Add more ways to interact with the world, to diverse it, more depth to our character, more choices. That way we can be truly immersed in Night City. Yes, absolutely. I want to see this. You know, I've been thinking about this more and more lately. Ways to traverse it. You know, there could be gangs that love zip lines, for example, especially in the mega buildings. I think that would be so badass to be able to zip line down a mega building in the interior. Man, that'd be so cool. Add parkour elements specifically to the interior of mega buildings. It doesn't necessarily have to be parkour all over the open world. That's probably an impossibility given the architecture of this world. But hell yes, in mega buildings, I think it could be possible. Now, Carlos says this. I hope Phantom Liberty also comes with an increase to the level cap. I've been hearing this time and time again. And like New Game Plus, this is becoming one of those highly requested features. I hope that CD Projekt RED is paying attention to this and taps into this when it comes to further updates. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting because they did say that Phantom Liberty is going to be like an all-new story with new characters. We'll see what that means to the progression of the base game. I'm not too sure if there's going to be a major attachment to that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Now, we have Dr. Diabetes, who says, I really hope they expand on some RPG elements. In particular, I'd love to see the food stalls and diner improve, where you can sit down and buy a meal, and then that meal appears in front of you in full steaming 3D glory, essentially like what Final Fantasy did. Along with that, allow us to sit on ledges at campfires, lean on railings to improve in-game photography and enjoy the view, as well as add more small occurrences, interactions in Missy's shop, your apartments, and clubs. So essentially making everything more immersive and interactive. That'd be really cool. And there's so many like cool photo mode type opportunities in the game. I totally agree and see where you're coming from. Now we have this one right here, Nim146, who says, I literally said when watching the anime, wow, they really nailed the look and feel of this game in this. Yes, that's how I felt about Edge Runners. I was like literally sitting there getting emotional. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I getting emotional about this anime? Like, it was because of the respect, you know, to Cyberpunk 2077. I'm like, this is legit amazing. And also, this is kind of what CD Projekt RED in a way deserves. This is what I was really hoping for, I guess you would say, for CD Projekt RED when it comes to the success of Cyberpunk, and to see Edge Runners come out and to see such a huge influx of players from Edge Runners to Cyberpunk 2077 just has absolutely made my year. Like, I'm so thrilled for CD Projekt RED and also you guys, the community, because in my personal opinion, that just means, you know, more cool stuff for Cyberpunk 2077. It's likely we will get more anime related to Cyberpunk, not necessarily Edge Runners, but yeah, and also it bodes very well for Cyberpunk 2077 sequel. So overall, good news for everyone. But there it is, the latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077 and Edge Runners. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time.